Hello, I'm Mike Jones from Fcsi's Foodservice Consultant magazine, and welcome to this special Operators edition of the Food Waste Fundamentals series sponsored by Salvajor, and focusing on the changing attitudes, the best practice and the logistics of managing food waste disposal in professional kitchens. To do that, I'm delighted to be joined by three leading chefs from around the world. So let me ask our participants to introduce themselves and we can get going. Celia, let's start with you first, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much again for the invitation. My name is Celia Stoecklin. I've been leading the Italian restaurant Celia, located at SLS Dubai for almost 3 years now. And I've been working in the industry for over 14 years, so already half of my life. Very happy and very happy to be here today. I believe it's really an very interesting topic that we should hear about more. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Celia. And Tarek, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for calling on board for such conversations at that times as well. Who I am, I'm Tarek. I'm been in country for over 3 decades, working with different hotels and different establishments, and currently at the Dubai World Trade Center. I'm looking after one of the chefs, and plus as well, I'm looking at the culinary training in the aspects of internships and apprenticeships programs, and looking forward for today afternoon.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tarek. And Imrun.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for having me. My name is Imrun Texeira. I'm a chef from Toronto, Canada. I've spent the last 15, 16 years traveling and working around some of the best places in Canada, but also around the world. And I have a lot, I guess, of experience from casual fine dining all the way up to Michelin star restaurants. And a lot of my day-to-day work here back in Canada has to do with food media, from TV shows, content creation, food writing, but also a lot of work within food education. So coming into this kind of roundtable today, if you will, talking about sustainability, it really touches on everything I think I do as an individual, but for all of us as food professionals. So it is something that's, I think, should always be top of mind for us all.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Imrun. And on that subject, let's segue nicely into the first question. Tarek, I'm going to put that to you, please. Can you talk about, to Imran's point there, how are you seeing operator attitudes maybe shifting in terms of the subject of food waste generally? What's the direction of travel that you're seeing in this area? Is it changing quickly? Is it changing notably? What are you seeing?
You see, my being in this part of the world for over the years, I would say for the last 5 years, it is so noticeable that how much changing has been happening when it comes up to sustainability and more direction into living better or living well, or adjusting to what is going on after, I don't want to say after we neglected. It was there, but it was neglected. And I should say the word, I'm sure Imrun will agree with me that, and Celia, that we destroyed it ourselves, but here we are, we're going into the direction of fixing it, and it is a big shifting on the Middle East, and the awareness of sustainability is quite major in every aspect, not only in food or cooking, no, in every aspect.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tarek. Celia, from your perspective, what are driving those shifts, those noticeable changes that Tarek referenced there? What is driving those shifts with regards to food waste? How much of it is being led by mandates from local government, from regulation, or from the wider industry? And how much of it is being led by perhaps simply better educated, more purposeful individuals? What is kind of pushing for that change, do you think?
I would say it's a bit of both. We have the chance here in Dubai and most globally in UAE to have already very strong laws that helps us a lot. But from my perspective as a head chef, what I can see is the change directly from the kitchens, and often it comes from the younger chefs. I believe that people are just more aware now, and they don't want to waste anymore. They don't want to throw in the bin a product that has been grown, that has been harvested, packed, and then shipped by someone else. Imagine all the resources and all the time that you put in a single ingredient to have it until you have it at the restaurant. And it's just so wrong to think that it could go to the bin just because someone doesn't know how to use it or doesn't know how to store it properly. So yeah, I believe I have seen the biggest change I have seen personally was directly from the individuals.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you, Celia. Great answer. Imrun, to Celia's point there, there's clearly more awareness, and I think that's a global thing. But really, what are the tangible upsides of managing food waste better? Why should chefs care about this?
So I think, and it always comes down to, I would say, the bottom line, which is like financials, right? We want to be, if we're running these kind of operations, businesses, if it's for-profit businesses or even NGOs, we always want to be in the green, right? And we know a lot of restaurants for the longest time around the world have always worked on the slimmest margins, especially if you don't have multi-million-dollar kind of backers and whatnot footing the bill or helping pull us out of the gutter and the hard times that we've seen so many operators face. So we've got to really think, how can we support that bottom line? What kind of support systems, techniques, and whatnot can we really put in place to give us that kind of like better base structure? And we got to think about less stuff going into the bin or into like that is basically considered waste, right? And that's all going to affect that bottom line. So if we know that we can use 99% of the product, then maybe just the 50% perfect part of it on the plate. One that just comes with intent and I guess a moral compass around using food and using the ingredients, because I've worked in some places that they only want the perfect apple, the perfect straight cucumber because it works better for said technique. But then you're leaving so much money, quote unquote, on the table, right? So if that's going into the bin and then that's going out to the trash and then working in some of these big cities around the world, it's not like you have the best dumpster spaces either. So I've worked in different parts of central London where you go into some of these back alleys and there's rats. There's so many of these kind of health problems that are there as well, right? So when you're thinking about your food waste, it helps your bottom line from a financial standpoint. It can help, of course, the back end kind of stuff when it comes to health and safety, and then even thinking about what you have to pay for these waste management companies to come in to get rid of it. It's a multi-tiered system, right? But I think it all starts down to what's happening in the kitchen. And as Celia mentioned, the awareness is there, but now we have to really look at these kind of platforms that are offering out this education and putting that in place so we can really tackle it at the forefront.
Thank you, Imrun. I think maybe a sub question on that front. You're talking about these slim margins, obviously, that operators have to kind of adhere to. But when they're making a decision on food waste handling, how do they prioritize? Is it upfront costs? Is it labor requirements? Is it carting fee costs? How do they kind of get their heads around that?
So I think a big thing upfront is knowing that you're going to have to deal with the product no matter what, right? You're going to be prepped. So the labor is there and you're bringing in this produce no matter what, right? So you're going to have those upfront costs. And of course, depending on your style of service or restaurant, if you will, not many people are doing tasting menus for a set booking every day, right? So you're always going to be bringing X amount over just in case, right? But you want to make sure that product is being used. It's not going to waste. It's not taking up extra space. So you really want to make sure that, yes, it might be a bit more money upfront to say bring in the labor, but it's already there preparing these ingredients. Right. We just have to think that one step next about the waste or the trim and upcycling that into a usable product. So then down the line, we can pull these things out of the pantry and whatnot, and that's going to cut labor down the line. So it's a little bit more of like a steeper push at the beginning, but that's going to come back in massive returns down the line.
Fantastic. Thank you, Imrun. Tarek, how are you seeing the dial move in terms of operators actually investing in better, in more effective food waste innovation to deal with the food waste itself? Are you seeing AI being utilized to reduce the amount of food waste created? What sort of innovation are you seeing out there?
Right. In the whole entire region from GCC I would say the last 5 years or 6 years in the whole entire region, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, all of them, I can see that there's a lot of eco sounding. I mean, we start to invest money, and like Cecil said, and said as well, the same thing, that how much it costs. But innovation, AI, it's in place. We see different machinery. We see different scales to scale the food. We see different systems for recipes where it can tell you in advance what is your yieldings. The most important for me, it is, and I take example Dubai and UAE, it's the stakeholder and the government start to take responsibility. They start to work together with the individual establishment to make sure that natural and ecosystems are taken a place, not only in a food wastage. Talking about AI, I would leave a part to Imrun to quote me on this, and Celia as well. He's laughing, so both of them are laughing, being chefs on the floor. My opinion, it should be more utilized. It should be more advanced, that it can help us. The generation we see in front of us does not have the tolerance and the resilience we had when we were young. So that's where I think AI would be nice, to have an AI where you write, look, I'm 100 rooms hotel, and that's my menus, and this is my recipes, and that's what I utilize, and this is my menu engineering. What is your recommendation for my buying and less carbon print, or at least the buying power? I mean, I'm sure Celia will agree with me somehow that she will be very happy that her AI, right, that's what you're going to buy end of the week, and there's no wastage. I mean, look, we dream, but whatever we see in the movies is coming true.
Sure.
One of the things as well for me, it's start to showing up that what you ask, that being not wasting food, it start to be advertising, it start to be a marketing, you know. If you finish your plate, you will get one plate for free, you know. So it's something very good, and it's growing.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
It's like being in Japan when they tell the story for the kids, how much, and that Celia have mentioned that earlier, how much it takes to cultivate rice. So don't leave one rice in your bowl. You make sure that you finish it off, because there is a farmer who's behind it. Okay, so I hope
it's powerful. It's powerful, isn't it, Tarek?
Yes, it is. I hope my answer was all right.
It was excellent. Celia, how are you seeing AI impacting on food waste?
I think I see it becoming more and more important. And to complete what Tarek said, I think also the location of where you actually use, because you will use maybe an IA scale, as Tarek mentioned, but what is very important also is the location where you put it. And this is where the layout is also very important. I can take our example. We actually using an AI to control food waste, and we have placed it just before the washing station, the washing area. So it means that our waiters, when they go and to remove the leftover food from the plate, they have to use the AI scale. They don't have any other choice. So it looks small, but it makes a big impact, because it allows us then to have many reports and to really have a deep analysis of it.
Absolutely. Great answer, Celia. Thank you. You mentioned the word layout there in terms of the kitchen space itself. Are you and your team seeing kitchen spaces being designed differently now to take into account the food waste more? How are you seeing that design aspect changing?
Absolutely. I think it's not anymore an afterthought, as it could be before. But now, when we are designing the kitchen, it's part of the layout. So basically, for example, I can see it, especially in modern kitchen, you will find maybe some food waste separation areas just dedicated. So as I was mentioning, it's not something that we will add afterward. It's part already of the layout of the plan. And as I was saying, for the location, even where you place the food waste bins is primordial, because it has to be visible, and people need to take accountability of it. So it's a whole process that actually made the position where you put it very important. And this is where including it straight into the layout is primordial.
Great stuff. Thank you, Celia. Imrun, in terms of operators like Tarek and Celia, clearly they are way ahead of this. But are you seeing the penny dropping with other owner-operators in this sector? Do they get it? Do they understand that we must deal with food waste more effectively? Do they understand the need to invest in better systems, better design?
Yeah, I definitely think they get it, for sure. I think that is one kind of consistent theme or perspective that we have across the board, because especially as disposal like costs and regulatory pressure increase from so many different angles, these are things that we all have to really look at, right? And when we were realizing that waste is actually a controllable expense for our business, and that we have the power to control those inputs and outputs, we have to really make sure that that is a priority within our businesses and our kitchen. And that it's not actually just a kitchen issue, but it's actually a strategic business issue to deal with, and putting the right things in place. So if it is tech, AI, if it's using different services and whatnot to really build that full kind of circle loop, if you will, back to what Tarek was saying, and just having the respect for our farmers and whatnot. It's about building those relationships where I've worked with farmers that are bringing us amazing duck, dairy, and other kind of goods. So it's great to see that coming into our restaurant, but then again, having our cooks or teams going to the farms, seeing what it actually takes to build those practices and where it takes like that idea of farm to table. But I think an amazing part was that same farm we dealt with also took a lot of our food waste from our kitchen on a consistent basis back to their farm to use as compost. So it's great to see that kind of full circle, and that's down to different operators and how they run. But I've seen so many restaurants here in Canada, different parts of the UK, Copenhagen that I've worked in, that have different kind of, I guess now with technology as advances so much, seeing different like composters built into kitchen systems. So if that's feeding the local ecosystem on the restaurant, or they're also being able to use that to support the farmers that are technically supporting them, right? So it's right now, I think there's still a gap between awareness and action. Again, awareness is there. We just need to take now that next step forward. The educational kind of platforms are there, and I think there's so much kind of insight and awareness now that offers that real world kind of ROI. We just have to take action.
Great stuff. Thank you, Imrun. Tarek, let's stay with you. Obviously, you have huge background in culinary training. Imrun talked there about the gap between awareness and action and the availability of these educational platforms. But fundamentally, do you think the industry needs to do more educating in the area of food waste? Could it be upping its game a bit more to keep up with what's out there, the innovation, the systems?
You know, Mike, that's one of the very important, vital questions, especially when it comes to the area of Middle East, with having a reserves in a few things that the culinary offers in that part of the world is very generous, and that generosity causes a lot of food wastage. And that being addressed, seeing what you said among all the years and the training, that being addressed either where I work on the trade center or in UE, I would give it 15 years ago. It took 15 years ago where we reach now, where we go from a menu of that number of dishes to this number of dishes. I'm not going to mention the numbers, but that things. Do we need educations? I have a word for this. We are educated, but we ignored it.
Ah, interesting.
We are ignored it. We totally ignored it. If you remember when we used to go in any shop and we ask the word, is it fresh? And when we used to buy, we buy what we need only, and it goes with the budget. That's now have changed, and I'm truly, and from my personal experience, when we were young, we used to fight with the butchery or the freshmen that we choose the best tomatoes, the best okra, the best, and I'm talking from Middle East kids backgrounds. Now, when you go to supermarket, the first thing you think, oh, this is 5 dirham, this is 4 dirham. I will buy the 4 dirham. So as well, there is a lot of cost conscious. But do we need to be educated? Yes, especially young chefs. Especially young chefs, especially young people whom they're opening restaurants. They need to understand and respect the ingredients. And like Celia said, what effort does it take to cook that item? We ignored, we neglected the grace we have in our hand of food or from any material. When we neglect that, is accordingly, you waste food.
Yeah.
In any manners, either by not eating it or overbuying it or over storage it, or you just don't know the know-how how to handle that food. Education is needed by training for young chefs. We did a very interesting exercise at the Dubai World Trade Center recently, and when I say recently, about 3 months, because we were really working hard on the food wastage.
Mm-hmm.
I actually took a live scale and I went up on buffet and I started weighing every guest plate.
Yeah.
And I took a permission from the guest. And we used only the standard plates, which is 30 centimeter plates, and the other ones was 21. I seen some plates with 950 gram up to 1,300 gram of food.
Goodness me.
And that was reality.
Yeah.
Reality. Of course, I took the permissions and I said, do we do it exercises? I don't want to mention names of countries, but I lived in certain countries that I remember at those days in the 80s, the main course plate was literally the dessert plate.
Yeah.
I remember that the number of pieces canapes used to be counted. How many for the guests, and you add 10% on it. So education, yes, Mike, I don't want to divert from the questions. It is needed, but I will repeat again. The core is there. We neglected. All of us, we neglected it. We never grow. There's nobody goes now and say, is it fresh? I mean, that's the first word we used to say in supermarket. And being Mediterranean, Celia will agree with me, in France or Italy, first thing we used to go shop, is it from today? Product.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing you go, you turn it, 5 dirham, put it back. So I hope that
Tarek.
helps somehow. But educational, yes, needed. From foundation, not in numbers, not why we waste food, give examples.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just sad, really sad.
Thank you, Tarek. Celia, as well as the need for education, there's also, I would think, the need for a proper food waste strategy from operators. What help do chefs need in terms of formulating a food waste strategy to begin with, and how to deal with food waste better? And how will that help? How does having that strategy in place help an operator to stay ahead of the curve?
I truly believe that what most chefs need is clarity. So we were discussing about awareness, but I know a lot of people that want to do something about food waste, but they maybe don't know where to start, or they don't know exactly what to do. So I believe that the first start is education, awareness, as we were saying, and maybe honest conversation with the person that actually wants to do a change. For the person that actually doesn't know why they are doing that, we need to give them a purpose. We need to explain them. Of course, it only works if yourself, as the leader or as the manager, you know yourself why you're doing it and in which purpose it is. But yeah, I believe it's really important to really give them the reason behind all of this. Someone that will do something without purpose, he will just do it, but maybe he will do it only halfway. But someone that does something with purpose, you will see real difference. The difference will be seen very, very fast, and it will be a huge difference.
Yeah, I guess as an extension of that, Celia, why is doing a food waste audit like an essential first step for an operator to understand the scale of an issue that they're going to face in an operation?
Sorry?
Why does having a food waste audit,
yes.
Why is that an essential first step for an operator to really get to grips with the scale of the issue they're going to face in a kitchen?
Yeah, no, basically, I believe that if you don't have a food waste audit, for example, you cannot know where is the problem, because you cannot fix something that you don't know. So, I mean, imagine you have, for example, let's take an example, a main course from your menu, and 85% of the time the plates comes back, but only half eaten. So I would say
Nice.
there is only two possibilities. The first one is that you're a very bad chef,
Nice.
and I hope that's not the one. But the second one is that most probably you have a portion that is too big. But either way, you need to change something, and you can see that only by doing regular audits.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Thank you, Celia. Imrun, why does effectively dealing with food waste actually represent a major opportunity for smart operators who get to grips with this?
It's pretty simple, Mike, because it's like waste is cost, plain and simple, right? I don't think there's like too much more to that notion, right? Every bit of food that gets thrown away has already costed you money. You paid for it, you've stored it, you've prepped it, you've used the labor and utilities along that journey, right? And if you're reducing the waste, you're basically reclaiming the money that's going into the bin, right? So I think it's really that simple when it comes into that kind of that notion around it, and just knowing how reducing, I guess, food waste in general will reduce your overall costs long term. And back to what Celia is saying, I think there's a massive opportunity, I guess, for businesses in general to really help fill that gap, right? So if I'm looking at it from a technical standpoint instead of, say, maybe more technology or AI based, if we're going into culinary schools, because I work within a lot of local kind of education realms here in Canada, thinking about how can we improve these kind of problems or the education around it at the grassroots level. What can we teach in culinary schools? So this is not a higher level of thinking when you get into higher end restaurants or something. This is a baseline thing. If we're learning how to break down a whole chicken, we should be thinking about what can we do with every single part that comes from it. And is it going into your stocks? Is it going into your main course? And if you have these scraps, how can that be upcycled into something else, right? So if you think about, again, it's good and bad that sustainability has become a trend in a sense where it is very marketable in a sense, but that's been paired off with, I guess, the resurgence of these old school techniques, and one of probably the biggest in the world, which is fermentation, right? So the whole idea of using the art form of fermentation that's been derived in so many different cultures around the world to help preserve and upcycle food. So if that's being taught in more culinary schools around the world, which at least when I went, it was definitely not a thing, you're starting to see some of the bigger institutions around the world now implementing that into their curriculum, which is amazing. But then consultants that can go into these operations around the world, because Celia mentioned people want to do something, they might not always know where to start. So it'd be great to see more consultants, if it's individuals or agencies investing in that education and platform, and now going into places saying, hey, with this technique, with this education, we can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every single year.
Great answer, Imrun. Thank you. A final question from me, and I'm hoping you can all answer this one if possible, please. A bit of future gazing. Can you tell me, what do you think the future looks like for how operators will be dealing with food waste in the next couple of years? We've been talking a lot about innovation out there, a lot of things like AI, a lot of things like improving education, improving strategy. But how effective is this going to be? What does the future look like for how operators are going to deal with food waste? Imrun, let's stay with you, please.
Yeah, so maybe it's the artist kind of mentality when it comes to working with food. And when at least when you think of like the most gastronomic places around the world, they thrive off creativity. And I think for me, that's what gets me the most passionate thinking about food sustainability and reducing costs is, what can I do with the offcuts or the trim and the waste? And that's where I think a lot of energy and passion and zest comes from working with these products, is turning nothing into something. I think it's been so easy to build out these glamorous menus with Wagyu, with foie, sea urchin, whatever, but it's just like, oh my God, I created this whole dish, or maybe even a whole menu with things that would normally go into the bin or just into a staff meal. And we've been able to create such a beautiful thing. So I think it speaks a lot more to a chef's creativity than maybe their budget and or ego by pulling in these amazing ingredients. So I think from that kind of standpoint, I think a lot more people are going to go back into, say, older school techniques and that old school kind of mentality of sustainability, and really relying on pure creativity. So I'm very excited from that standpoint, because I think the younger generation, yes, they might not have the same kind of resilience in certain ways that Tarek has mentioned, but they're coming at it with maybe a more kind of forward-thinking, creative lens. And I think we're on like the verge of a really cool rebirth of what can really be done in this industry.
Superb answer. Thank you very much, Imrun. Tarek, same question to you. Do you agree with Tarek? Do you agree with Imrun on this kind of this hybrid of old school techniques with cutting edge innovation? Do you think that's going to fundamentally change how we view food waste in the future?
I will second Imrun, and I will second Celia. I'm sure somehow she will agree, being a head chef for restaurants, that the future will not happen if we don't explain to that generation how to yield food, how to use every part of the chicken, every part of the fish, how to receive, how to do what we call first in, first out, how to organize your menu, know your menu, like Celia said, that how to do what you're good at, not what you imagine and you post wasting food. Because for me, if a chef cannot execute a recipe, accurate recipe, it doesn't matter. For one, it's like 1,000, it's like 3,000. If he doesn't do the yielding and what he does with the bones, Imrun will second me in this. One of my famous market in Canada, St. Lawrence Market. I like to go to the butcher side. I like to go in Toronto. I like to go to the fish side, especially the fish side, and see what these guys do with the fish. I mean, the only thing is they is not using is the basic scaling of the fish, but everything else is used. The education of basic finance of the kitchen, basic finance that will control the waste. Like Celia said, it's money going to the garbage. The size of menus. I think we can write books about it. But amazingly, Mike saying that now you see hotels from 118, and I'm talking from experience, 118 room service menu, now they're down to 25.
Yeah.
Now I witnessed that. So the size of the menu, what is first in, what first out, what quality you want to, what do you know to give? I love what Imrun said and Celia, do what you're good at, but don't go and say offers, I mean, offer what it costs you money. Yielding, first in, first out, expiry, closing to expiry is very important in food wastage, because at the end of the day, you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Using your leftover, I like what he said, using your leftover, what do you do with your leftover? I mean, it's amazing when Christmas days and festive days, we keep eating the turkey for 10 days. We do soup, we do sandwiches. I mean, it's not even a Boxing Day. I mean, we're about to use, I go back to this. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm that old, but remember in the old days that when we have a leftover food, and that's I learned from my ancestor, my grandma and all, we never throw it away. No. We go and bury it under a tree and say it goes back to earth.
Ah, amazing.
Now, you open the garbage bin, then you go for heart scanning, not even blood pressure. You go for heart scan for the amount of waste, food wastage is inside. You know, it is time that, and I say again, it's neglected. I don't want to hear the word, the guest want. In the old days, we educated the guest. Now it's time people to realize that we're really wasting food with sensibility that we can offer better and controlling better education for that generation in kitchen math. Do your yielding, do what's different between cleaning and after cleaning, how much you're going to cook, how many the percentage, that's have to come back.
Yeah.
Or like we said earlier, use the AI. I'm not promoting AI.
Thank you, Tarek. Thank you. Celia, in conclusion, what do you think the future looks like? Are you optimistic that the industry will get to grips really effectively with food waste? Do you feel positive about the future?
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen anyway, since few years already, more and more people interested to do something. And I believe in the future, we will see that not becoming, just a minority, but becoming the standard. It's the same for all the super technology and IA, for example. Now, some of the restaurant or company are using, but I believe in the future it will be automatic. It will be part of the layout. It will be part of the budget, and it will directly be implemented, which is, I believe, which is great. And yeah. I'm hopeful that food waste will not only be a subject of, one day, but really a priority for everybody, and the responsibility of everybody also.
On that positive note, Celia, thank you very much for that. Let's draw things to a close. Outstanding stuff from our chefs here, our experts. I'd like to really thank Celia, Tarek, and Imrun for giving us their time and the benefit of their experience and expertise today. Really great stuff. Thank you to Salvajor for their support, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.